Despite the negative headlines, did CZ just save the crypto bull market? Is he the actual hero that crypto has needed this whole time? We're going to talk about that in this video, so make sure you strap on in. We got a lot to talk about because even though this isn't breaking news, and we've even covered on the channel, yesterday T-Shroom did a phenomenal job covering it in our afternoon live show. I want to dive into some of the details, give you guys my take. I know I missed the show yesterday, did have to cover some things, but I was supposed to be out of town. You might be wondering, Tim, why are you making a video this morning? You just announced that Investing Bros is going to take the rest of the week off and spend time with our family and Thanksgiving. Well, not leaving to go out of town till this afternoon. So one more video like this, and guess what, guys? If something breaks in the news, I might not be able to break down charts the rest of this week, but I'm going to make some phone videos for you guys if anything crazy happens, giving you my take on what is happening. But it is my turn to talk about the CZ drama. Now, in case anyone is watching this video does not know what is happening, let's talk about that. Binance CEO, this is CZ, Changpeng Zhao, but we call him CZ, steps down, pleads guilty to money laundering charges, appoints a new CEO. What are the details of this, though? We had a very long, very long tweet from CZ yesterday talking about doing this. And a lot of people are going to tell you about the negativity of this whole thing. A lot of people are going to tell you, oh, we knew it. We knew he was a fraudster. We knew he was evil. It was just a matter of time, yada, 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 yada. I'm not even going to get into the details of the article. I'm just going to break it down for you. Ultimately, Binance has been under the watch of the DOJ and the SEC and now the CFTC for a while. We've gotten used to new FUD coming out about CZ and Binance, and then that picture of CZ just holding up the four fingers. Well, it's ironic that 4 was a key number here. They're paying $4 billion, $4.3 billion to be exact, in fees to the U.S. government to make the criminal charges go away, which is a whole thing of its own. We talked about that before, how you can pay to get rid of criminal charges. That just shows you the stupidity of the American Department of Justice. But let's talk about this a little more. These fraud charges, these money laundering charges. I said the other day I want to see what these details are. Well, those details have come out. What are they being accused of? The fraud charges, the money laundering that CZ and Binance are being slapped on the wrist for are because their exchange was used to not only continue to fund Russia during the sanction period with the war between Russia and Ukraine. They also saw that terrorists from Hamas were using funds and using the exchange. And I want to start off by saying, of course, I'm a big advocate of doing everything we can to stop terrorist organizations. I do not condone the moves that Russia was making against Ukraine. I do not condone the moves that Hamas made over in Israel. But what we boil down here is a restriction of freedom. And we've talked about this before. When you try to restrict and correct things to get rid of evil, you end up catching innocent people at the same time. Is Binance and CZ really that evil that they allowed Russia and Hamas to continue to exchange, to trade and to move money on their exchange? That's just an open free market. And when you have freedom, when you have decentralization, when the government entities and centralized entities cannot get their hands on things, you're going to have bad people using money. But guess what? Bad people have used money since the beginning of time, and bad people are going to continue to use money for the rest of the time. The question is, are we doing things right now to restrict the freedom of innocent people? And the answer to that question is yes. And this, guys, while CZ stepping down, taking the slap on the wrist, maybe spending up to 18 months in prison, not being allowed to do anything for Binance for 3 years, while this is a win for crypto right now, this is a big loss for the future. Why is it a win? Well, guess what? This actually might be the catalyst to finally removing that last barrier for why Gary Gensler is not allowing the Bitcoin ETFs, then the Ethereum ETFs. And in the future, we're going to see other ETFs come out in crypto as well. So ultimately, CZ took one for the team, stepping down, He did not want to become the Sam Bankman-Fried that ruined crypto. He actually has allowed it to be saved. We're going to look at the charts here in just a second. A lot of people thought the Chinese market or the Asian market was going to dip in price. Well, it turns out the Asian market actually is turning it back on a little bit. We're actually pumping on the Chinese hours, the Asian hours of trading. He saved the short-term price action. Crypto is not in jeopardy at the moment, but the problem is in the future. If this is the case, if this is the new precedent, that the government can go and press criminal charges on an exchange. That's not even within their own country, by the way, guys. Binance is not in the U.S., and yet the U.S. is pressing these charges, and they're winning. And their reason and their money laundering is because people that they don't like are using the exchange. And again, I get it. Terrorist organizations, Russia. I'm not defending the entities. I'm defending the stance that says just because the U.S. government doesn't like you does not mean that you should not be able to exchange your money. And the fact that we're now using this is probably going to be a precedence. What happens if some organization or some entity that is just not in friendship with the U.S. government continues to move money? The government now has the authority, control, and power to shut down any exchange, to demand an exchange shut their accounts down or else face criminal charges. That's scary to me. That's scary to me. I do not like it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Guys, we're going to look at the charts here in just a second. Like I said, I do believe CZ just saved crypto. This saved this bull market. But go ahead and smash that like button and hit subscribe if you're enjoying the video so far. Let's go take a look. Let's take a look at those charts and let's break it down here. Now, this is the 4-hour chart. Very important. You guys can see here, dipped last night, did close candles below that white support line, but we got a reversal coming in. We're back above it right now, surging to the upside. Even the hourly chart shows us we still have room to the upside. We're correcting. I would love to see us come back down, touching somewhere here around 36,300. That would kind of get us back to that support level. It also would close out some liquidity that we do have for Bitcoin. But as a whole, when you zoom out, guys, let's take a look here. It's not just Bitcoin. People freaked out yesterday when the news happened. They freaked out when price dipped all the way down below 36,000 again. But let's turn on our thinking caps for just a second. Look at this. Did we lose the white line? Yeah, we did, but we're right back above it now. Thank you to the Asian trading hours. But even if I remove this white line, do you guys see that we are continuing to set these higher lows? And yes, we have now seen a period of time where we're no longer setting these higher highs. You know, we had these higher highs, and this was really good, and we came here one more. This most recent high, no, we didn't set a higher high here. Does that mean it's over? No. Is it concerning? Yeah, I would say it's concerning. I do think this is something that makes you question, while I still believe 40,000 is well within the cards. I think this could make you question, hey, have we topped out? Is this the top of it? Was 38,000 as high as we can get? Again, my personal opinion is no, and I'm going to explain to you in a second why, but it is something that makes you think if we get another surge back up to those levels, even if we continue to climb up towards 40,000, it might be time to start looking for some profit, because I do think we are still seeing the signs that a deep correction could be coming. Is that to 30,000? Is it to 27,000? Is it 25,000? Is it lower? Let me know in the comments. Tell me down in the comments how low could Bitcoin actually correct. But I want to make sure before anyone goes out and FUDs this entire space to take a look at the charts. We have not lost key support. We have not lost setting higher lows for Bitcoin. Now, you move even to the altcoins. This is one where, yeah, you know, we have lost some support here, but let's even take a look at them and just critically look at it. Cardano. We're actually still setting higher lows on Cardano. We're actually still staying above some key support. You guys, we talked about this the other day. Oop, did not mean to keep my marker on. This is a little bit of a bull flag type of a pattern that Cardano is kind of forming here. I'm going to use my trend fusion rather than using any trend lines. Just got a little bit of a bull flag right there, and we're keeping support. This is actually still pretty bullish. Could we move to downside? Absolutely we could. I'm going to continue to watch that 35-cent zone. That, to me, is a very important zone, and we've had a wick drop below it. So just because you wick below isn't necessarily the end of the world. But I would say if we cannot hold 34 cents, if we lose 34 cents, there might be a little bit of a case to say, all right, guys, Cardano might be over. But when I'm zoomed out here and I'm looking at the 4-hour chart, again, bullish signals coming in at this low. It's a higher low. We're not below key support. I'm not necessarily freaking out about Cardano. Let's take a look at Solana. Now, Solana came down and double bottom, but at the same time, we're continuing to hold this pretty nice $52 region for Solana. Got our bullish flash. We're still kind of sitting here with a little bit of a bull flag-ish pattern. Now, I'm going to go ahead and kind of lean away from calling this a bull flag. That's a much longer flag than it is a flagpole. But at the end of the day, I still think Solana could get a small surge, at least come back up to 67, if not make it into this golden pocket somewhere above $70. But again, zooming out, people are freaking out, and yet, man, we're continuing to defend some pretty key support here. Let's take a look at Chainlink. Same thing with Chainlink. Now, Chainlink, we're not necessarily getting back up to the highs we had here back on the 11th, all the way up at $16, almost $17. But again, we're not setting new lows here. We're kind of more consolidating the sideways action, and all these bullish flashes are still hitting pretty well. Every single one of them has a significant pull back to the upside. There are coins that I'm maybe a little bit more concerned about. Now, XRP is getting close to a support level, but when you look at XRP, we're coming back here. I do think we're going to retest somewhere in this 57, 55 cent region. We did just get a bounce here, but you will see that's a very clear trend here on the 4-hour chart. XRP has been moving to the downside. We have entered into a period where we're very clearly setting lower lows and lower highs. So that is something when it comes to XRP. I'm not saying that we can't make a good push to the upside, but I am saying this is one that's maybe a little more concerning. I'm not as confident. The one I'm really not very confident in right now would be Matic. Matic has probably the most bearish chart of them all, and that's because this is night and day, very clearly a head and shoulders pattern. Very clean left shoulder, very clean head, very clean right shoulder. Guys, back when Bitcoin was setting a head and shoulders pattern here about a month and a half ago, that was a pretty looking head and shoulders. This one might be even more beautiful. That neckline is almost perfectly flat. Those shoulders are perfectly almost to the exact same level. That head is nice and symmetrical. And when you look at the breakout prediction here, this is pretty rough. This would predict that Matic should be falling all the way back. Let's take a look here. Should be falling all the way back here down towards 61 cents, back to levels of support we had in October. Doesn't mean that we can't move a little to the upside. In fact, I think if we move back up above this line right here, if we move back above the neckline, then maybe we'll have a chance at canceling out this beautiful head and shoulders pattern. But what I'm looking at is probably a pump on Matic back up here. When we see other things pump, watch it get rejected on this neckline and then slowly make its move down. I think it'll make this move down when others do as well. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm still in the camp of saying, well, I'm still bullish on the likes of Bitcoin and Solana and Cardano. I think we're going to make one more good surge. And then that correction we've been waiting for should be happening. We're seeing the signs of sideways movement. We're seeing the signs of consolidation kind of getting like, well, there's not necessarily too many sellers right now, but there's not necessarily too many buyers. We're going to need a big catalyst one way or the other to decide a new big breakout. But we'll have to keep our eyes fixed on that. Let's finish up here, though. Let's look at liquidations, because the charts, again, we're seeing a lot of support levels. We're seeing a lot of evidence that the bulls had some good correction yesterday. They got back control. They were able to push price back to the upside. Let's take a look at some things here. Looking over at Bitcoin here on the weekly for this heat map, and let me scoot it over as best I can so you guys can see this. You guys can see we took out a lot of our low liquidity. Yesterday, we came down here, took out this low liquidity down at 35,600. Technically speaking, if we were to go to the 24-hour, I just want to show you this. This is, let's see, is it 12-hour? Let me make sure. I was just looking at this. Here we go. All right, so theoretically speaking, there's an outside chance. Like I said, 36.3, there's liquidity right there. That's what I was telling you about. There is some liquidity down here at 35.7, so if we made a push down that far, wouldn't be the end of the world. But when I'm looking at this weekly chart, to me, I'm going to continue to keep my eyes fixed on this range up here right below 38,000. 37,985 is a very important level to keep your eye on, and usually you move up a little bit above. So I still am sitting here looking at this chart saying I think another at least touch of 38,000, if not a little push above, is still definitely within the cards. Again, 40,000 in the cards, but to me, seeing this high liquidity at 38 and then seeing yesterday a lot of whales moving money and moving Bitcoin onto exchanges, that doesn't mean they're selling this moment. That means they're getting ready to sell. Are they going to sell at 38,000? Are they going to get enough of a push to push us to 40,000? Either way, I do think that dip is coming. It's just not time yet. Let's take a look at some others. Solana. We're talking about Solana here. Took out all of our low liquidity. Now we're starting to see the next level here on the weekly chart back up here towards $63. Could we go higher? Yeah, I think we could, but that's something that I feel firmly confident that we could see a good surge back up above the $60 mark, up to 63, excuse me, for Solana. Take a look at Chainlink. Let's see, as we load here, Chainlink, we took out a lot of our low liquidity. We have a little bit up here at 1447, but we still have a decent amount back up here around that 1550 mark. So another level, I think, again, we're going to see a pump here for Link. And let's check out our last one here. Let's look at Cardano. Can't look at every single coin, but I want to show as many as possible. Cardano, it as well has taken out a lot of its low liquidity. We're seeing more of it come back up here towards 40 cents. Again, 60 cents to me is very interesting when you're looking at Cardano. I still believe we're seeing a lot of momentum that could move the price, go to that high mark up to 0.382. But 40 cents to me, when I'm looking at this liquidation map, still is looking like something that we could make at least one more good move towards. And if you're sitting here getting a little skeptical, if you're getting a little cold feet, you're not too confident in the rest of the surge, go for it. Look at these levels, take your profit. This should put you, if you've bought recently, back into profit, unless you bought the exact tops of every single coin. These prices should put you back into profit. I can tell you right now, guys, the dip is coming. What is that dip going to look like? Well, more than likely, altcoins at least 40, if not closer to 50 and 60%. Bitcoin, excuse me, probably at least 30, if not pushing closer to 40 or 50%. The time to buy crypto is still coming. There's going to be another great buying opportunity, but it might be the last one because, especially with the moves of CZ over the last 24 hours, the bull market has been saved. Prices will be going to the upside. He took the sacrifice we all needed him to so that the markets could go on. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are about that, what your thoughts are about all these coins. Give me price predictions. What do you think the high is for this little bull run? Have we already hit it? Can we go a little higher? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, go ahead and smash that like button and hit subscribe to the channel. We just crossed 5,500 subscribers. Help us get to 6,000 here within the next couple of days. With that said, though, guys, that's all I have for you in this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.